Well, today we're going to be replacing the secondary air pump on our W203 C230 Sport Mercedes-Benz. Check engine light came on, and used an OBD2 reader with the in-car dock, I think it's called, app, code reader app, and I got PO 410, which is secondary air pump. So I took this little hose off right here. I disconnected it at the intake. It is pumping air, but it's also making a really low frequency, kind of like a roaring sound. Typically, I believe they're supposed to sound more like a blow dryer. And even when this is plugged in, you can hear like a low rumble that seems to come from down below the engine. It also comes through the exhaust pipe. And I think it's just a bad bearing or something's wearing out inside the unit here, and it's resonating, down the exhaust pipe, and so that's why we're hearing it down there. So they're not terribly expensive to replace, and this car has 150,000 miles on it. So we got a new unit here from FCP Euro Bosch unit. I've got T27 Torx and a swivel head and a couple other Torx drivers. I may decide I need something else, but we'll see. We'll get into it. So let me get all that put together, and we'll go from there. As always, we're going to put the hood in the service position by punching that little button right there. And that allows the hood to get farther up out of your way when you're working on the motor. I'm going to start by just pulling these hoses off. And I'll start with this one. That's the easy one. Sort of. There we go. Alright, next we'll just pop this hose off here. Comes off just like that. It's real easy. And then I'm going to just pop these screws out, and with whatever kind of configuration is most convenient. Try to get my headlight on here. There we go. Here's number 2. I just have to get them loose right now, and then we'll come back. There's one down there at the bottom. I think this had to come off when they did the intake manifold, so some of this stuff, this could be its second time around. So there's 1, 2, 3 down underneath there. Here's another one over here. I haven't really needed the swivel so far, but I'm probably about to. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that one way down there is probably going to take 2 screws out right there. Okay, this is going to be screw number 1. This is going to be screw number 2. That's going to be number 3. 4 is going to be kind of tricky. What I had to do was get it started with the ratchet small extension, and then use the Torx driver, let part of it go up inside the, where the fan is there. And now I'm just going to take the rest out with my fingers. Okay, so here's our screws so far. 1 is noticeably longer. 2 and 3 seem to be the same. 4 and 5 seem to be the same. The very last one is way down in there. Probably not going to be able to show you. But basically, this bracket has to come off, and screws 2 and 3, you know, were the ones that held this to the bracket, so they're going to be the same. So I think when that the final one down in there finally comes out, oh, there we go, kind of. And you still can't see it. But when you look down in there, you're going to see it, and once that comes out, I think that whole bracket's going to come off. Okay, so I got all 6 bolts out. Bolt number 6 matches bolt number 2 and 3 in length, which kind of makes sense because they're on the same bracket. So now, and to unplug it, you just got a couple of little snap clips here, butterfly clips, whatever you want to call it. So just push it right here at the top to spring those out, and then just pull it right off. Should be no problem there. Oh, something's still connected somewhere. Well, I guess it's probably just the hose. Let's give it a good tug here. All right. Yeah, that's gonna come right out. Dang it. There it is. Just had to use a screwdriver to break the grip, you know, where it's been in there for, you know, 6. Oh, there's something fall out there. Some shavings or something. Anyway, just use that screwdriver to kind of break the grip of the hose. I guess I really didn't need to take that screw out, but we'll go ahead and get the new one put in now. I'm going to go ahead and take this other hose off because I saw some dirt fall out there. That's what I saw fall, was some dirt. So just want to try to make sure everything's clean. So I'll just use my screwdriver and kind of break it loose down here. And then go ahead and, yep, should come right off of there. Just take this hose off so I can clean it. Shouldn't be any problem at all. Yep, just comes right straight out there. There we go. Oh, some dirt in there too, so there it is. Looks like concrete powder or something. All around this hose right here. So right there you can see a lot of kind of light gray powder built up on this little gadget right here. So I wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't need to be replaced also. Also from here you can see on this intake manifold this little piece of aluminum here. These manifolds have a feature that allows you to run on shorter runners for torque, and then when you hit a certain RPM, switches to longer runners to give you better top speed or something like that. And I think this is the little gadget. On the factory ones it was plastic, and so this, you can see this part's shinier than everything else around here. I just replaced that back in the summer, so that may be the little part that causes the problem. I'm not sure. If so, it looks like you could replace it without replacing the whole intake manifold, really. But anyway, we'll concentrate on one problem at a time. Okay, so here's our situation on the screws. 1 is noticeably longer. 2 and 3 are the same. 4 and 5 are the same. 6, same as 2 and 3. And then you got 2 others on this bracket, which I would presume will be the same as 2, 3, and 6. So, but I made a big mistake when I started this project because I did not take the belly pan out from under the car. I've dropped my T27 down into the dark abyss and I heard it hit the belly pan. And the belly pan is really hard to get off when because this car's so low, unless you've got it on stands or something. Really hard to get off. So I'm going to go buy another T27. It's always good to have 2 or 3 or 4 of everything, right? And then we'll come back, get the bracket off, and get our new piece installed back in there. All right, so learned a few things here. One is that the 2 other screws that held the pump into this bracket here are the same as 1. And of course 2 and 3. And 6 a little bit smaller, and then 4 or 5 even smaller. I also figured out you can use a T30 if you don't have a T27. That's what I used to take those 2 out. And I think you could probably use a T25, but I would be worried there about possibly stripping your screw out. So you could probably use a T30 if you need to instead of a T27. I did go ahead and buy another T27, but I got a 3/8 drive, so that way I'm not duplicating my tools. And so I got the bracket off the old part, which is right there, and as you can see, the new part pretty much a dead ringer. I've had good luck with FCP Euro as far as parts replacement. They always seem to look and work fine. So I'm going to get this bracket put on the new pump, and then we'll see how much is involved with installing it back in the car. Okay, since we're going into some aluminum parts, I'm going to use anti-seize on these. And usually what I like to do is just get a little bit of it on the grooves of one that you're going to use. We're going to use our 3 longest ones, remember? Oh, opening it. Okay, we're good. And then just, kind of scrub around it, because it doesn't take a lot of this stuff. And I usually wear rubber gloves because this stuff just really gets into the pores of your skin if you get it on there. It's hard to get back off. Feels kind of weird. And as you can see, I've had this tube about, I think, 30, 40 years, something like that. It goes a long way. So here's our bracket back on, and especially since I use the anti-seize, especially since I'm going to be using maybe using the 3/8 drive to put these in, because they were kind of stubborn coming out, so I think they've been taken out before, maybe cross-threaded a little bit when they were put back in. So I just want everything to go together nice and smooth. Make sure I don't strip it out. Okay, so while the rest of this has been going on, I've been having these have been soaking in rubber dressing. So they're not new, but they look new again. And hopefully that's going to keep them limber a little while longer. So I'm just going to hit them with some compressed air now. Just want to make sure there's no dirt or dust or anything up in there. And I may run a paper towel or something in there. You can take your finger also and just kind of, since I've got some of the rubber dressing on it especially, kind of clean that up. And then I'll be taking a vacuum cleaner and hit the parts that they mate to, and just try to make sure we're not getting any kind of contaminant or anything in there. Looks like there's been some contaminant going in there for a while, but we're going to try to stop that activity. All right, since I noticed this white powdery debris around this part here, I'm just going to use a little shop vac, just kind of suck everything out like this. I think I'm actually going to use some WD-40 and a rag on this. Nope. Didn't spray out very good, did it? That's fine. Put this paper towel down here because I don't want it to get onto my fan belt, drive belt, serpentine belt, whatever you call it. Probably wouldn't hurt anything actually, but try not to get stuff around. You got to be cognizant of WD-40 is flammable. It used to be anyway. Combustible, I guess. That's how people would use it to look for vacuum leaks and stuff in a car. So probably not a good idea to spray it everywhere. Also, while I'm in here, I looked over these three. Oh wow, that's not even connected. So that's probably one of our problems right there. Well, if it was, it might have been connected. It just came off. Real easy. Yeah, it might have been on there. I'll have to look back at the video. But anyway, these are important. You know, make sure they don't get cut or squashed in some kind of, when you're working on the car. It's just different controls. You can see on that manifold like I was talking about, or maybe you can see. This piece is metal, this piece is plastic, and those pieces, plastic ones, with age will get brittle and break and cause problems with your intake manifold, so I want to keep an eye on that. Okay, so I went ahead and put this hose back on, the part that I just vacuumed off. So what I'm going to do now is just simply put this hose back where it came off, and that should tell me, you know, exactly where everything needs to bolt up. So just go ahead and feed that one on there. Okay, so that's the way the two hoses fit. So all I should have to do now is just put the bolts in and the final hose on, and we'll be ready to go. Okay, one thing I want to mention is you want to kind of be careful of, when I pull this hose back out of the way, you can see those three yellow lines right there. There's a gap in that bracket. Let's see if I can. And you want those three lines to run in that gap so that when you tighten this down, you don't crimp or break one of those lines. Oh, here we go. This is better, I think, maybe. Yeah, I'm just going to put these. I'm going to put these top two screws in, the easiest ones first, just to kind of get it where it needs to be, and then I'm going to start looking around down here and seeing, you know, exactly the best way to route those yellow lines and things through. So I'm going to do that, and hopefully when I come back, this thing's going to be all buttoned up. Okay, so we've got everything buttoned up here. That's how you put a secondary air pump on your C230. Basically, your two small screws are going to hold this bracket on. The next longer screws are going to hold this bracket on. The longest screws are going to hold the bracket to the air pump. I think that's right. And I looked down through this hole, or the space, I guess, right here. Made sure that one vacuum line hooked up to the intake manifold. Actually took a screwdriver, kind of pushed it a little bit because that was kind of a sloppy, it was real easy to come on and off, so I may have to look at replacing that later. Here's the other two of the three vacuum lines that I made sure went through the hole in this bracket, or it's not a hole, it's like a gap. You'll see. So there you go. It took me about, I'd say, 8 hours, maybe 10 hours over a 2-day period. So if you're of average intelligence and have any aptitude at all in working on cars, you should be able to do this in about 45 minutes, maybe an hour. But hopefully this was helpful to you, and if so, I hope you give me a thumbs up. Thank you.